Hi, ma'am. So, can we please get to know a bit more about you and can you give us a small introduction about yourself?
Being here in my professional capacity to some degree, I have been a marketer and a student of marketing, I think, for the last 2 decades. I had always a passion for fashion and apparel, so I went to the NIFT Delhi and I've pretty much spent my entire career in the categories of fashion, clothing, beauty, and personal care, and some degree luxury. So, if I were to say in one line, I'm a marketer with a first love for marketing and the second love for food. Like many in this country.
How has your experience been at GIM today?
It's been absolutely wonderful. I had a huge level of anticipation as well, because I think I did tell my personal story. At one point of time, I was going to be here to study, and some 25 years later, I come here as a speaker. The journey seems to be complete in a certain way, and it was a great audience. And I think the subject anyway is profit with purpose is something I'm very closely connected to through my work as well as my personal passion. And thank you for having me. It's a privilege and an absolute pleasure.
How have your experiences with brands like Nike, the Body Shop, and Lenskart shaped your approach to evolving digital and marketing retail trends?
I think more than looking at just the brands for what they do, I think at any point of time, the consumers are the ones who are really shaping. I can say that for the last decade, the consumers are really shaping the way brands are reacting or offering things old and new, whether it's innovation or it's the same old products, the way they are marketed. So the contribution of these brands to my journey or my thinking as a marketer and as a professional has been that these are some of the most ethical brands. These are some of the most holistic and path-breaking brands. So therefore, there's a certain first approach, that you have. Also, innovation has been very high, like whether it's a Lenskart or a Body Shop. High degree of innovation, understanding consumers, perceiving their wants and needs before they actually express them. These brands that I've worked with, they are absolutely ahead of their categories and the landscape. And that has shaped my thinking and the way I work, the way I strategize, look at a lot of things.
How do your creative interests like painting and gardening influence your perspective on work-life balance and decision making?
I think gardening is a newer acquired passion in the last 5-6 years, and I think thanks to the pandemic it became a bit more active. But I have always painted as a child as well, and I think my turning to marketing, that profession, is also from that same fundamental inherent personal quality, which is I have a certain priority for attention to detail, like observing, listening. Like I love walks. Most of my campaigns have been conceptualized while either when I'm walking, because I think in nothingness you actually come across some very amazing ideas, and that's the time you're really into yourself thinking. Now today, with the kind of perspectives that exist, consumers or people in general, a campaign many times has to say many things to many people. It has to communicate that, and you are able to understand far more nuances when you really are observant of people and things and nature.
That's very true, ma'am. So we would like to know, so from your journey across these iconic brands, what do you believe are the most valuable lessons that MBA students and our students at GIM can learn about building a strong career in marketing and brand management?
So I'm going to give you a set of attributes that I think are pretty critical or are fundamental to success, A, as a professional today, B, as a marketer. So I think as a professional, one is, there are three things I think today, the way business environment is, it is absolutely important for you to have those three things. Number one of which is you have to be diligent. This whole ability to really work meticulously and put your head down and to be able to really get down to the brass tacks instead of having a hands-off approach. Number two is great listening skills. You need to be listening a lot to your consumer, to your stakeholders, to your competition, so taking the cues, And third, and probably the most important, problem solving. Your capability of solving problems is one of the biggest success factors if you want to be a professional today. For marketers, I think there are, like I said, there are two things I feel absolutely important. Number one is knowing about your customer. You need to spend inordinate amount of time, invest in knowing your customer. Session is directly proportional to the kind of success that you will achieve as a marketer. And the second attribute for a great marketer would be attention to detail. Your ability and your intent and your action at the smallest aspect, because now customers are not buying brands or products, they are buying experiences, and experiences are about so many touch points, and for that the smallest detail needs to align or be consistent with the biggest one.
Thank you.